Y'all ever watch Mad Max? I did, sorta. I started it on a plane ride and then forgot about finishing it, and I still haven't finished it. But even if I haven't finished it, the sun-scorched post-apocalyptic world has a lot of aesthetic parallels to the definitely very nice, not dangerous at all post-apocalyptic desert world of Athos from the very popular D&D campaign setting Dark Sun. Hey! Just quick pop in from editing Lady Splitchin. I wanted to let you know that after drawing and after recording the voiceover and after editing a lot of the video, I actually now know a little bit more about the Dark Sun campaign setting and also Wizards of the Coast's recent statement about the problematic aspects of the campaign setting. If you're unaware of this, essentially what Wizards of the Coast said was that they would not be remaking the Dark Sun campaign more suitable for a modern audience because they think that it's just unsalvageable. And this statement has been receiving a lot of mixed reviews, understandably. I'm not here to get into the nitpicky details of it. I just wanted to say that the reason I'm comfortable playing the Dark Sun campaign setting is because I trust my DM. I know that they're going to be sensitive about the various topics that Dark Sun encounters. I know that they're going to communicate with the players about their personal boundaries, and I know that no matter what changes they make, they're going to do a great job of still incorporating in that scrappy, survival, intense mood that Dark Sun originally carries. And I'm not saying this to make light of any of the genuine concerns that people have about the original Dark Sun campaign setting. Whether or not the book needs to be updated, I don't really know, because while I do know more than when I recorded the video, I still haven't read the book. In a very brief statement that really should probably be unpacked, but I'm not going to be unpacking because this video is not that kind of video. I just wanted to say that I think a campaign setting book is a tool. It's a nice framework for you to build a story that suits the desires and needs of the players. But if you find that the use of a certain book is enabling a DM or a player to act like an a-hole, odds are it's less of a book problem and more of a player problem. I know, that's a hot take. That being said, this is not a Dark Sun discourse video. I'm not going to be arguing with people in the comments. Nobody has to share my opinion if they don't want to. This is just meant to be a very light-hearted character creation challenge video. It's not an opinion video or anything like that at all. I repeatedly say in the video that I know very little about Dark Sun, and it shows. But despite all that, I hope that you can still enjoy the silly little video and the fun times and the speed draw and the character creation challenge where I draw a bunch of little guys and then consolidate them into one fun desert character. And that's what the whole video is. That's it. Anyways, good talk. While on screen, I'm writing a bunch of disjointed ideas down. I want to put this out here before anybody goes ham on me in the comments. I only know the bare bones of Dark Sun, and I know next to nothing about 3rd edition D&D, which as of the moment of recording this is what the DM is using to run the game. So if you're looking for an informative Dark Sun video, or if you're looking for someone who's going to know a lot of things, that will not be me. But if you like watching paint go zoom and casually listening to someone talk about stuff and things, mostly D&D or digital art related, for somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes, this might be the video and or channel for you. I already have a very thin centaur on screen, and we'll come back to her in a minute. I just hit a roadblock when it came to outfit design, as I often do, and this sketching process was a result of an early morning panic burst of inspiration in the middle of a week where I was experiencing a lot of art block. So instead of getting hung up on the details, I am, as quickly as I can, moving on from one character to the next. The second character that has been quickly worked out is a human ranger whose entire vibe is Dark They Were and Golden Eyed by Ray Bradbury, but instead of space and aliens, it's just me combining a very dark color palette with practical desert clothing, as opposed to exposing skin to the scorching sun constantly. But we have no time for my thoughts on that genre of costuming, and I mean, at any rate, the costume design in Mad Max, or at least what I saw, was pretty darn cool, but it's time for the Goblin Gremlins. My thoughts on this were possibly a goblin monk with clothing 1000% inspired by the game Journey, which is a beautiful, beautiful game. I couldn't get hair to work out for this character, so when in doubt, Imperator Furiosa the face, I guess. And I also added a couple little designs to the cloak cape thingy because it was still feeling very empty visually. And I also decided to add this rope sort of situation going on, and I think I added medallion shape up front as well later on in the process. Back to the centaur. In Dark Sun specifically, metal is an incredibly rare item to be found, so you don't get a lot of the insane spikes and contraption a la Mad Max, but clay is used as a substitute specifically in the instance of coins. I just wanted to let y'all know that I am aware of this fact despite some of my character designs, including my final character design featuring things that look like metal detailing. Just pretend it's bones or clay or something. For anyone who's going bonkers about, oh no, it's a centaur design for Dark Sun character, my DM did give the okay on allowing races that aren't in the original setting because the DM could relatively easily work them in. However, I am not planning on going with a centaur for my final character anyways, so nobody yell at me. Also, the centaur is malnourished. Her frame is not a stylistic choice. It's her actively not taking care of herself because she's crazy, and also it's a desert. There is not an abundance of vegetation. The last character is the least Dark Sun character at all, and by least I mean not at all. She's a gunslinger D&D character with a ton of religious imagery on her outfit because it's, you know, it looks cool. She doesn't really suit any of the D&D campaigns that I'm in now, but boy howdy do I plan to come back for her. Anyways, we're on to part 2 and the majority of the video, which is me happily combining all the different little ideas I had into one character that is going to probably be the visual representation of my PC for the Dark Sun campaign that isn't even supposed to be happening until summer rolls around. I'm not mad about it not happening till summer, first of all, because give your DM all the time they need to prepare, and second of all, I'm super busy already with a ton of stuff. Although I act like my schedule is going to change at all in the summer, and even if it does change, it's not like I'm not going to fill it up with projects and drawings and plans anyways. So here we have this nameless character. All I have for her is her general color palette, her relatively strong physical build, and big elf ears because we love big elf ears. I do color in her golden eyes as per the ranger in my sketching phase, and I put quite a bit of effort into shaping her brow bone and eyelids, but fear not, I cover them up. At first I do try to keep the eyes somewhat visible, but I just end up scrapping that. So yeah, say goodbye to her eyes entirely forever. You can see that I'm actually hesitating about this decision because I have drawn this head face covering on a separate layer, but you know me, in the end it all gets merged into one big happy layer. Again, I'm putting what definitely aren't little metal rivets in this super cool mask thing that I, yes, pretty much directly ripped off of a very cool picture I found on Pinterest. And if you're wondering how this character is able to see, the answer is I have no idea. Usually this is the part of the video where I have a super long drawn out explanation of my character's backstory and skill set, and that will help take up about a third of the total video length, and honestly the ability to do so has become a little bit of a crutch for when I'm not sure what to fill a video with. However, today this is not the case. Today you get to hear every stupid bad idea that I have before I make any finalized decisions. So how does she see? I have a couple of very vague explanation options. The first option is that she's got some Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender stuff going on. She can't see anyways, but she can sense things for reasons. Tremors in the ground or sounds around her. Some physical acknowledgement of shifting sands. There isn't a monk class in the classic version of Dark Sun, which would be a super fun excuse to have that skill set. So perhaps some rogue type thief with a knack for that kind of thing, but either way, this option would definitely prevent my DM from having to homebrew anything. The second reason I have is that she sees via the bird. There is a ranger class in the classic version of Dark Sun, which doesn't necessitate having a pet, but you know, I feel like rangers just in general end up having pets. I'm already thinking that this bird vision would be a problem though, because while cool in theory, the DM would have to do some interesting homebrewing to balance that whole situation. Also, little bird hit points are much fewer than player hit points, and if bird down equals vision down, my elf is kinda screwed. Although perhaps having literally the eyesight of a hawk at the expense of how easily she would almost be rendered useless upon the demise of the hawk is something to be worked with. In general, I'm not the kind of player who finds it enjoyable to cause problems for the DM or request a specific homebrew be made to accommodate a desire that I have. As cool as it is, I'm not particularly leaning towards against this one. The last option I have is taking a deeper look into the Psionicist class, which I'm not sure the DM is planning to include for the PCs at all. Scions are very common in the Dark Sun setting, but I was only very briefly looking around at this class on the internet, and some places said it's only in 2nd and 4th edition, and some places said yes, 3rd edition has a Psionicist class. I don't know, I could probably ask the DM or take a closer look at pages that have confirmed information, but instead I'm going to speculate because it gives me fun and silly things to talk about in my video, and I'm not afraid to look silly on the internet for views. There is an existing page on the D&D Wiki homebrew website that has a 3rd edition Scion build, and there is a lot going on. It's an incredibly flexible class with a lot of different possible routes, which is super cool. Being a Scion might naturally allow this character to interact with the environment without using eyeballs because of how closely a Scion understands their relationship with the objects around them, considering how their entire power set is centered around using their mind to manipulate the environment. Very nice, simple, requires no homebrew, continue as normal. On the other hand, Scions have telepathy, and we're back at it again with the bird or seeing through the eyes of people around. But this would definitely require another weird homebrew where I only roll perception using stats of other people, or I have a limit to whose eyes I can take over. And this is just getting weird and funky again because I am just throwing ideas out here. I have no intention to cause problems. I'm just thinking of fun character traits, that's all. Don't mind me. So let's talk about what I stole from the original sketch drawing. We have a tiefling skull on her hip, fun eyeball covering thingy, earrings, and eventually she'll have a couple bloodstains on her cheek that are reflective of the very sad crazy centaur lady from the original sketches. We have the basic build and structure and color palette as well as the bird from the human ranger. We have the pointed ears and dark black war paint from our little goblin friend, and we have the sort of dress style or cut and red eyeball motifs from the gunslinger at the end. Some characters got a little more carried over than others, but you know, I think this is a pretty good mashup of the entire group that I had going on. When I was working on this, like I mentioned earlier, I had some incredible art block going on. I was working on multiple projects and I was not super interested in finishing any of them, and I was just pushing through for the sake of getting them done. Working on this piece in the middle of that did a really good job of taking what was starting to feel like unfulfilling, subpar, excruciating work and helped me feel super refreshed. Even though most of the projects I start are ones that I personally have decided that I want to get to eventually, sometimes I prioritize projects that I think will do well, or I push myself through a project that I don't really have the spare energy for and end up burning myself out even though I'm working towards a goal that I have established for myself. Even though I didn't feel like I had time to spare to get these ideas out and I felt guilty working on this instead of other projects, I was super excited by the simple fact that I was motivated to draw, and that ended up with me not only having a bunch of super cool character designs in a very small amount of time, allowing myself to step away from projects that I was pressuring myself to get done meant that I could go back to those more important projects with new eyeballs, doing the thing that I wanted to do instead of spending that time dreading what I needed to do was far more productive and ended up helping me a lot more in the long run. There is some kind of concise message I am trying to convey here, but honestly my brain is very stuck on the expression new eyeballs. I don't feel like that's correct. Anyways, enough of that. Back to the last bits of this drawing. I got some features and more defined shapes onto the hawk raven crow creature, and I added an outline to the characters in both orange and this aqua greenish color. My lighting wasn't really set up to have rim lighting, but I think it looks cool anyways. I feel like it attracts more attention to the characters while not looking necessarily like a sharply contrasted outline, even though that is what it is. I also very loosely render a desert background. I don't always give my characters backgrounds, but I felt like with such a dark color palette like the one I was using, having a brightly colored background that wasn't just white would help bring out the different tones and help the colors look not so muddled together. And ta-da! A fun little bit of art in excited anticipation for possibly getting to play a Dark Sun campaign this summer, and also some nice little character design because it's been a while since I've drawn just one character for a video. I mean, I know technically I sketched 5 or 6 characters in this video if you count the bird, but I only fully rendered 1 or 2 if you count the bird, and it looks great! Thank you all for coming along. I hope you had as good of a time as I did, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. It's free and it makes me super happy, and it helps you get fun, wacky content once a week, and hopefully someday with enough support more than once a week. As for these 4 character designs, I'm gonna try and recycle some of these for maybe NPCs or another campaign or one shot I might partake in or something, but who knows? Not me.